What's happening, family? Greetings and good evening, my amazing village. I hope each of you are well and blessed. So good to see everybody. Y'all just waiting, chomping at the bit. I see you in the comment section, waiting for tonight's village chat. I hope each of you are well and blessed. Shout out, gang. Listen, I know many of you all watching are people who are actually in the 40-day turn up. You're in the journey process. And if you are here and that's you, I want to salute each of you. Congratulations. To those of you who are watching this and you have no clue what the 40-day turn up is, you have no clue what the journey process is. Those processes are the greatest transformational processes in the world. We help to transform people one person at a time, helping them spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically in a way that they can help to become their best possible selves. It has a cornerstone in nutrition and holistic medicine, awareness and education, and we've been able to really do some great work in this process, and we are very, very grateful and thankful for that. So I want to explain that to you all. To those of you who are watching this and you want more information about what I've just said, you can visit journeylife.tv. You can find out more about the processes. You can find out more about myself. You can find out more about what we represent and who we are. It gives you all the information right there. So I want to be certain that you all have that information. To all of my individuals who are in the 40-day turn up, gang, listen, you've made it. I'm proud of you. We've been detoxing for the past 2 days, and here we are on the evening of day 2. Perhaps in a few hours, we'll be taking our final rest before we reset and start our new nutritional profile first thing in the morning. How many people in the comment section are excited that you have made it? Put it in the comment section. Let me know how excited you are that you have made it. Oh, I'm so proud of you guys. You know, Facebook went down on yesterday. Instagram was down. WhatsApp was down on the day that we start our process. But we've been victorious and we are still here. So I'm so excited to see you guys. This is great. Let me talk to you about Village Chat before I bring on my and our first guest. Village Chat is a time for us to spotlight the stories of those people who are in our village. And when you hear me say village, I'm basically talking about this online space where we all gather. We've got probably about 1,850 people across 38 states in the United States of America and 7 countries throughout the world. Each of them are in small groups. Each of them have a leader who has come through the process, who's been trained. Each of them has accountability. Each of them has access to information to teach them what they need to know. And the goal and the objective is to teach people and to show people the way in a comprehensive manner that once the process ends, that they aren't able or that they are empowered in a way to where they're able to live this lifestyle for the rest of their lives. So this isn't a diet. This isn't a program. Programs are things that start and they end, but this is a process. And it takes time to help people change their lives. So I really think the way that this is done is organic. I think it is done in a way that really helps to give people the support, the guidance, the education, the leadership, and the accountability. It helps to provide the motivation that people need to make the change that they want. So we're excited about that. And I'm so proud of each of you who are here. We got 383 people who are watching. So back to Village Chat. Village Chat is an opportunity to present the stories of people who are actually coming through the process. So my guest on tonight that you'll know very, very soon, she is an actual participant in the 40-day turn up. She is a real human being. She's got a real story. She's got real obstacles in her life. She's got real issues that she came to this particular process needing help with. So when you really listen to that, she's no different than me. She's no different than any of you. And this gives us the opportunity to not only spotlight the participants, but we want to expose their story, because there are those of you who are listening who are in positions of the people that you'll hear from. And there are people who are watching. The answer to your question just may be in the story of the person that you're preparing to see. So I want to introduce my very, very first guest for the fall session of the 40-day turn up and the Journey 3.0 process. And her name is Miss Ashley Bailey. Ashley, how are you doing?
I'm feeling great. How are you, Dr. Joe?
Oh, I'm doing great. You over there glowing. I see that big smile you got on your face. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm not hungry.
Okay.
I'm a little tired,
Okay.
but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really great.
Well, that is just wonderful. Well, I'm so glad that you, first of all, thank you for accepting being my special guest. And it means a lot to me and our whole village that you are the first one. So you're setting the tone and the tenor. So thank you for being here. And I'm glad that you're here. So let's start off hearing about you. Tell us about yourself. Where you from? Where do you live? And tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, I am from Detroit, Michigan, born and raised. I did live in Columbus, Ohio for like 3 years, but Detroit is home. I am an early childhood educator. I've been a preschool teacher. I've been a kindergarten teacher, and now I'm actually what they call a education coordinator. So I supervise all the teachers at my early childhood building. So I've been doing that since 2007.
Well, that's awesome. Well, is education and childhood education something that you always wanted to do? Like, how did you get into that vein?
Well, ever since I was little, I said I wanted to be a teacher. I would run home from school, and when other kids wanted to play other games, I'm like, let's play school. And they're like, no, we just came from school. So ever since I was really little, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I didn't know what age group, but then I gravitated towards the younger age group. So I've only taught like preschool to first grade. But I think it's something that I've always wanted to do.
Okay, well, you're in great company because we got a. I'm certain we got a great a lot of fellow um, educators who are watching. We got 508 of you who are watching, and I know
Wow.
we got a lot of educators. So shout out to all the educators who make an amazing difference. So talk to us about what is a typical day for you. You get up in the morning, and do you report to a school? Do you go to a certain building? Talk to us about what a day in the life of Miss Bailey looks like.
So I do get up and I report to a school. I was virtual for 18 months
Hmm.
due to COVID. So from about March of 2020 until August of this year, we worked virtually.
Okay.
But this fall, August, we went back into the classroom. So we're back in the schools every day full time. So my day starts pretty early. I'm typically up about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and getting ready to go to work. Now, a typical day, and I'm gonna be honest, would be
Yeah.
me on the way to work, stopping at a drive-through to get
Yep.
something to eat, stopping at a Starbucks or a Tim Hortons or something like that, and
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
getting to work. So um, that's been different for me recently, not doing that, but that's my day. I'm there from 7:30 to 4:30, and then get up and do it all over again. Sometimes in the evening, I might get out and get a bike ride. I'm in a bicycle club, so the weather has been pretty nice. So if I can get a ride in, I will, because the weather's starting to change on us in Michigan. The weather is very bipolar, so you
Right.
never know what you're gonna get. So like,
I can
I
relate.
enjoy that, and other
Okay.
amongst other things.
Well, that's great. Now you are a part of a sorority, correct?
I am.
Let's
I'm a
talk to
part
us about.
of I'm a part of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Shout out to any sorors that may be going through the process or have went through the process, or any of my Greek sisters, any deltas, any SG rows, any zetas.
Shout out to all the Greeks in the organization. I know we've got tons of the other ladies of the pink and green, so shout out to them. Shout out to, and like you said, you got with the quickness, got to be certain you acknowledge all of them. Shout out to all the deltas. Shout out to all the sigmas. I'm not even gonna call. It's almost like when you're calling people, you even forget one. So shout out to all the sororities and all the fraternities. We love y'all, but we are one village. We are united together, and we're winning together. So that is awesome. So let's let me switch gears and talk about the process. And the first thing I want to ask you now you go by Bailey, correct?
Yes.
All right. So me calling you Bailey is appropriate, right?
Absolutely.
Sure. All right, great. All right. So Bailey, talk to me about how did you get to the 40-day turn-up? Tell me the story behind that.
Okay, so I was on Facebook and I saw pictures of a friend and I saw her losing weight. And to be honest, I didn't think too much about it. I'm like, okay, that's nice. She's losing weight. But then she posted a testimonial from her sister who was also part of the 40-day process. So I'm like, whoa, she lost weight. Her sister's losing weight. Like, what are they doing? So I don't even think I inboxed her. I think I end up calling her like, hey, I saw your Facebook post. You and your sister are looking great. What are you guys doing? And she said, oh, we did this thing, called the 40-day turn up. And I'm like, okay, so what is it? I'm like, I'm trying to, at that point, I'm trying to dig for information.
Right.
So, she's not telling me much. She's like, there's this guy, his name is Dr. Joe. And I'm like, is he here? Does it cost? I'm like hitting her with the question. She's like, slow down. So she told me to go on the website. I did. I called her back the next day. I'm like, so how do I sign up? When is it opening? How do you go about it? So she kind of led me to sign up, said, this is when the sign up is going to happen. And I was so ready. I saved the date in my phone because she had told me what day that it was going to open where you could register. So I had it set in my phone. And then that day that I signed up, at first I couldn't get through and I was getting frustrated. And I'm calling her like, I can't get through. It's full. What's going on? And she's like, hold on. They were talking about opening more spots. And she said, just keep trying. So I'm refreshing my page. And I got through and I was so excited. I had been stalking her for a month. When is it going to happen? She's like, I'm not totally sure. She was giving me just enough information to keep me interested, but she didn't give away anything. And I thank her for that. But
shout out to your friends and to your friend who said they were good pupils. They did exactly.
Yes, I will give them a shout out. Galadia Crawford and Sonjai, and they are sisters. And I think the one is part of the journey now. Thank you so much.
Shout out. That's what's up. Okay, so you heard about the process and you signed up, and when you signed up, you got in. Take us back to how you felt when you found out that you were in. Talk to us about that.
I was so excited, but I was nervous because, like I said, I didn't know what to expect because they really didn't give me much information, but I was just honored and excited to get in because she was telling me, she was like, a lot of people sign up for this. It's not a guarantee that you're going to get in. And the more and more that I went on the website, the more and more that I was on the YouTube channel, I'm like, I got to do this. I got to get in. So when I finally got in, it was like, hallelujah, yay, I got in, because I felt like I had been waiting months, just kind of chomping at the bits. And even when I wasn't thinking about it, it was still in the back of my mind. Don't forget about the 40-day turn up. I was looking up the hashtag on social media to see other people's testimonials. And I just kind of started to kind of study it and see what I could learn about it before I even knew if I was going to get in. So once I got in, it was no turning back now. I was so happy. I'm I waited for this.
Now here you go. Here you go from not having issues signing up. You get in. Now you're the first interviewee on Village Chat. Isn't that something?
And I was one of those people you were talking about. You was like, you complaining, you this. I'm like, I can't get in. I'm calling them. I'm not getting the emails. They're not responding. I was doing that. I
Okay.
was doing that. So the first night when you said that, it was like I did a heart check and a spirit check really quick because I said that's exactly how you was when you wasn't getting in. So
Well, here you are, and I'm glad you're here. Now, I everyone comes to the 4-day turn up for a myriad of reasons, and I know you had your reasons. So, can you talk to us to whatever degree makes you feel comfortable? What are some of the things that you came to this process wanting to address?
so some things that I definitely wanted to address was learning how to eat healthier, making better, healthier choices. I wanted to address my weight. Every time I go to the doctor, it's like that's the main thing they say.
Yeah,
Anytime you even say you got a headache, anything you say my toe hurt, they're gonna say it's because you're overweight.
yeah,
So I wanted to address my issue with weight. My last annual this summer, my doctor had talked about my pressure being high and saying, if it continued along that rate, I may have to get on medication. I may have to switch some medications that I'm on.
hmm,
And then also too, I just wanted to give another process a chance
right,
because for the last 12 years, I've identified as a food addict. I've been in a support group for those struggling with food addiction.
mhm,
And at times it helped, but not enough.
yeah,
Not enough for me to have been in that program that long and still feel like I was in a place that I needed to get out of. So taking this leap to do this process was very big for me because I had to quit that program. Like I had a sponsor in that program
mhm,
who was like a leader. But once I told her that I was interested in doing this for 40 days,
mhm.
I realized I had to make a choice. I couldn't have one foot in and one foot out. If I was going to do this process, I was going to have to come in and give it my all. So um I'm just happy to be here. I'm scared, I'm nervous. I got so many different emotions going through me, but I just felt like it was time to try something else because that wasn't working for me.
Now let's unpack that a bit. You,
Mhm.
you you say that you have identified with being a food addict, and that you've been a part of support groups. And I know a lot of people watching this feel the same way. Can you talk to us a bit more about food addiction and how it manifested in your life, and maybe some things that you dealt with that led you to getting diagnosed or saying, okay, this is who I am? Can you talk to us about that?
Absolutely. So um I noticed a change in the way I ate when I went off to college. So my grandparents raised me. I had really good home cooked meals every day. I didn't eat a lot of fast food, maybe once a week, and it was like a treat. When I went away to college, and I always heard people talk about the freshman 15.
Yes.
When I went away to college, I ate a lot in the school cafeteria, but I didn't make a lot of healthy choices. I went off campus a lot to eat, like just buying stuff, cheap food, hot and ready's, anything, Coney Island, anything that was cheap for a college kid that they could scarf down and eat.
Right.
Um, it was like the home cooked meals were out the door, and I went from having home cooked meals almost every day to eating fast food almost every day. But I just noticed that after a amount of time, I noticed that I had an issue with quantities. Um, just eating way too much. It's like you're eating probably double or triple a serving size of something.
Mhm,
Or like you just had that yesterday. You're gonna have that again today. Like that's a lot of that item.
mhm,
So how I found out about that support group was someone at my college had lost a nice amount of weight. And then I'm like, well, what are you doing? And she told me about it. I started going to some meetings and it kind of went from there. But I just have struggled with not eating healthy foods, overeating, or what they would call binge eating,
mhm.
and things like that.
Okay. Now, this is pretty major. You have identified as a food addict, you've gone to support groups, but here you have detoxed successfully
Yes.
for almost 2 days. How does that make you feel?
I feel like I said, I feel amazing. I've never like within that program or with any program have been encouraged to do a detox. A lot of times once you start a program, they're ready for you to jump right into the regiment. It's that day or the next day. And it's like, I don't know if that would be considered cold turkey or they just trying to shock the system. But this is the first time that anything that I've done, someone said, let's clean you out first, let's detox you. Or even to go further than that, let's get your mind right first.
Mhm.
Because I feel like that's what the pre-work did. It
Right.
got me in a mind state to get ready for this and not just, okay, I came to this meeting today or I came to this whatever today. And then tomorrow you're like, okay, you're on the program.
Mm.
So I feel good. I was nervous about going into the detox. I really didn't know
Mhm.
what to expect. I thought I was going to be starving. Um, I knew I was going to make it because I felt it in here. So I'm
Right.
not going to say that I didn't feel that I wasn't going to make it, but
Right.
I was just absolutely just nervous about it. Like, how is my body going to feel? I'm not going to eat. I haven't ate since Sunday at 6 o'clock. Like, how is my body going to feel? But I have not been hungry, and I have not been hungry. And it makes me think about that day when you said you got enough snacks on you. Like, if I
Right.
think I'm hungry, I'm
Right.
not, because I got enough
Right.
snacks on me. So I'm just glad that it has been a amazing process. And I believe that part of that was me being mentally prepared and continuously going over my notes from the pre-work and watching the videos over again and just being in the right headspace to even move into this process. That's what has been missing from everything else that I've tried.
Well, I think you should really celebrate yourself because this is huge for you. Because what it's doing, Bailey, is showing you that you weren't a food addict.
Yeah.
That was your mind creating that fictitious agreement. And we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
And now you are showing yourself, I've got power over that. I've got the power to do what Bailey wants to do. So let me be the first to congratulate you because this is huge for you.
Thank you.
When
Thank
you
you.
wake up tomorrow, you will wake up having accomplished something phenomenal. And for a person who's identified as a food addict, can go 2 days without eating, and she says, I wasn't even hungry, is a testament that you're in control. You're in control of
Absolutely.
you. You're in control of everything that you do. So just know that you're motivating a lot of people and you're going into this process with great momentum. So congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank
Now
you.
let's talk about how is this different than what you thought it was? Is it because sometimes when you go into things kind of blindly, you have this idea that it's going to be like this and it's like this. Is it different than what you thought? Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. It's kind of piggybacking off of what I had previously said. Like when we had that first meeting, I'm thinking you're going to say, okay, next Monday, we're going to get started. Here's the meal plan. This is what
Yeah.
we're going to do. Of course, I didn't know we were going to get broke into groups and have a support team and have a leader that was going to guide us. And um, the pre-work sessions, I'm like, wait, when we did the modules, I'm like, I thought that was the pre-work. So when we came in and there were additional things that we needed to do, it's like living in that microwave generation, we want stuff fast and quick, information, money, anything. And you slowed that down. So that was totally unexpected. I didn't think it was going to be a month before we even
Right.
started with the process.
Right.
So but I realize now I needed that time
Good.
to really get in the headspace that I needed to be in to do this. So I think that's what was different about it. The support that was provided even prior to us starting, not jumping right into the process, and really focusing on more than just the food. A lot of processes
Yeah.
only focus on
Yeah.
eat this, do this.
Hmm. Good. Excellent. So you feel like you're in a place and space where you have what you need to succeed.
Absolutely. I feel like I should have put this in.
Okay.
I
No
feel
problem.
like my pre-work. I feel like the notes. Hold on. I
Mhm.
don't want to. I don't want to lose you here. Give me 1 second.
No, you're fine. Take your time.
Okay. I feel like the notes from my pre-work. I actually was calling it my Bible. I feel like when I did the pre-work and I took those notes, it was like I was back in school. I was hanging on to every word. I was writing down anything I felt was important. And there were days where you weren't going live, and I would go back and read the my notes from the previous pre-work, or go back and watch the video again because I may hear something that I didn't hear the first time. So I feel like I said, the focus wasn't just on food. It was about getting my mind right and making sure that I was even in the right mental space to be prepared to do this process, because it's not for everybody.
That's true. I agree. Not 696 of you watching. Question: when we were in the pre-work,
Mhm.
can you talk about maybe an aha moment that you had? Is there maybe not necessarily a certain lesson, but is there anything that was said that it just resonated within you and you kind of hung on to it a bit more than others? Is there anything that you remember?
I think right in the beginning when you were saying like we were making an agreement,
Okay, yeah,
and
yeah.
when we talked about like making an agreement, it's like in other areas you make agreements too, and do you stick to them?
Hmm.
And I felt like even with me, um I feel like I'm an honest person. I could be honest about everything, but
Hmm.
I'm not honest about food.
Yeah,
So I was just like, if you're making an agreement to do this, you've gotten into this. You have to make the agreement to actually commit. So I think I hung on to that so tight because it's like, are you going to do this? Are you really going to do this? And when you
hmm,
talked about killing the lion
yeah.
and really being honest about what is it about you
Right,
that you need to kill so that
right,
you can become the new you. You said
right.
put it all out there. And I realized it was deeper than food. When I started like typing out my response, like, what is the lion you need to kill? It was like I started talking about things that weren't food related. So that's when I'm like, this goes deep. It goes
Hmm.
really deep. And I went back to that lesson to remind myself, because that becomes my why.
Right.
So I think those two, the lion skin and just figuring out what your why is. Really, I really wrote a lot in my journal about those two.
That's excellent. Well, see, it's no accident that you've been selected to be a part of this. So I'm so great that you're my first guest. It's just excellent. Well, let's talk about your group. Who's your leader. Shout out your group.
Okay,
Go ahead.
shout out to my leader, Jennifer Wilson. She's such a beautiful soul. She's
Yeah,
been carrying us on her back. My super leader, TP Rosser. She's a beautiful person.
he is.
My team is Team Becoming. I'm on that team with 11 other beautiful ladies. They have become my sisters already. 4 weeks in, and I'm like, they
Yeah,
stuck with me.
yeah.
So they have been so encouraging. I see a lot of them online right now, but I just want to say thank you all for the support that you've given so far, and the support that I know that you will continue to give during this process.
And you are the captain, right?
Yes, and I told my leader, I
Uh-huh.
said, all I wanted to do was get in the process. I said, how did I go from wanting to get in the process to being the team captain
Right.
and being the first village chat? I said, I feel like I got through in the lion's den. And she was just cracking up. She said, it's your time, you know. And when you asked me to do it, I wanted to say no
Hmm.
because I was so nervous. But I just feel like as bad as I wanted to do this process and I got in, I'm like, whatever Dr. Joe say do within reason, I'm gonna do it. So if he want me on the village
Within reason.
yeah, with it, I'm gonna do it because I just said I'm not gonna bulk. It's so many processes that I've been through or programs where
Yeah.
I bulked anything, any suggestion. I'm coming to you and asking you for something, but then I'm bulking
Right.
and resisting the suggestion. And I said this time I was gonna come in fully committed, fully ready to do whatever was being asked of me by you, my leader, whoever else is in charge of this process, so that I could get the best results.
Well, that is just absolutely fantastic. I'm so happy to hear that. And I'm so excited for you and what's coming. So let me ask you a few more questions. How has the detox been? Like in terms of your experience? Um, Talk about
Okay,
that.
so Sunday night, I had my last meal between 6 and 7,
Okay.
and that night I made my detox juice. I put in the refrigerator because I knew I needed to take it with me to work.
Right.
So I started my detox pretty early, maybe 7:30. I started with the detox juice.
Okay.
The It tasted really good. I end up texting my leader and I asked her, I said, is there sugar in this? Because it tastes too good. She
Yeah.
says, no, I don't think so. She said it's too sweet, diluted with some more water.
Right.
So I'm at work and all of a sudden I have an energy that I don't usually have at work.
Mm-hmm.
I started working on tasks that I probably had needed to do when we first got back in April. I'm like just doing it. And I feel like I was kind of glad I was at work because it provided a distraction, but
Yeah.
also I just had this energy where if I had been at home, I probably would have been up cleaning or doing something because I felt like a boost of energy come over me.
That's
And then the detox started to hit, but it was closer to me getting ready to get off work, and I
yeah.
started to feel it. I was running to the bathroom a lot, but then it
Right.
really started to pick up on me.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that it tastes good. Most detoxes and
Yeah.
diet things or whatever,
Yeah.
it's not. It doesn't taste good.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is I can do this. I just
Yeah.
kept telling myself I could do this, and I just said, okay, a cup of detox juice, a cup of water, and I just kind of stuck with that regimen. I overdid it yesterday. I really think I had too much, and I was glad when you put the post up and you said, if you're not finished with it and
Right.
you're full, be done with it because I started to have that feeling of when you eat too much and you get too full, and I said probably shouldn't be feeling that way, so let me
Good.
cut it down some. So I didn't have as much today. I would be okay though if I don't have any of that flavor again for a minute.
Right.
It's like so much.
Right.
But,
I get it. Yeah.
but it's been so good. I had a slight headache yesterday morning
Mm-hmm.
and I just let it pass. And then besides running back and forth to the bathroom, I haven't had any other side effects. I went to bed at a decent time. We had a team meeting yesterday, just to encourage each other,
Mm-hmm.
check in with each other, and then after that, I took a bath and I went to bed and I woke up feeling so like very well rested. I went to sleep pretty easy. I usually turn on like Netflix or have the TV on.
Yeah.
It was on, but it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like the volume wasn't on. It was like more so for the light. And
Right.
Sunday I couldn't go to sleep. And I don't know if it was because I was anxious about starting
Mm-hmm.
or nervous or what, but I was like, okay, you need to go to bed. You got to get up for work. But yesterday I had no problem like getting in the bed and going right to sleep. Like even now, I feel like I'm ready to start winding down and getting ready for
Good.
bed. So
Good. Hey, well, that's awesome. That's great. Well, you've been an amazing interviewee. First of all, thank you for agreeing. You have such a wonderful, beautiful spirit. Just
thank
a
you.
beautiful person inside and out. I'm so glad that you're here. So I'm going to ask you something. One, thousands of people are going to see this. Right now, 724, not to make you nervous, are watching you now. They want to hear your story. If there's someone who's watching this or someone who comes across this a month from now, 6 months from now, they may be the Bailey who hears about this and is stalking the page, wanting to hear the village chats. And they may be thinking, well, I don't know if I can do this. I've got problems. If you could tell that person something, what would you tell them?
I would say, and it's the same thing I told myself, um, you're not getting married to this. Give it 40 days. If you felt like you've tried everything and nothing worked, then no risk, no rewards. I would say give it a try. You have nothing to lose by giving it 40 days. You can do it and walk away, or you could say, hey, I'm stuck to this for life, but you deserve to give yourself that chance.
Well, that is just awesome. Ashley Bailey, my special, special guest. Thank you, Ms. Ashley, for being my special guest.
Thank you for having me.
You have been just wonderful. So we thank you for being a part, and your story is just so inspiring. And there's so many people in the comment section who are kicking flips over everything
I
you
see.
said.
I'm kind of glancing over, like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah. And you're a wonderful leader and super leader, whom I know both of them very well, and to all the other ladies in your group. So
and the village feels like a family. So shout out to the whole village.
for the whole
Lionheart, we
village.
got this, and we
That's right.
gonna do it.
Well, thank you so much. Stay tuned, Bailey, because I'm gonna be talking about a couple more things about tomorrow. I know you
I sure
will,
will.
but you have a good rest on tonight,
You
and
too. Thank you.
thank you for being a part. All right, take care.
Bye bye.
All right, bye bye. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Ashley Bailey. Wasn't she just awesome? Just awesome. Let's show us some love in the comment section about how much we enjoyed her story. So proud of her and all that she's been able to do. And I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of each one of you. We had a lot of rough spots in the registration process. It's the biggest group we've ever had. I want to give a shout out to my team who are working hard behind the scenes for you guys. Shout out to Steph, Lisa, Dee Dee, Fred. Shout out to Anita, Ave, Dee Vanderberg. Shout out to Lynette. Shout out to all my governors, my ambassadors, my super leaders. Shout out to all of my leaders who are excited. I mean, it's just great. The village is such a beautiful place. And I'm just thankful that the Lord has allowed me and thought whatever the Lord thinks of me to trust this amazing place and space in my hands. And I want to do my best to continue to grow it organically and to use it to bring healing to our community and to the people. That's what I want to do. And that's what we're going to do. So, gang, listen. To all of you who are in the process, listen. Just like Bailey said, she's come through a 2-day process. Where she herself identified as a food addict. You heard her. But here she is in day 2 of a detox. Body's being cleansed. Her mind, y'all were ready. I told you last week. I told you last week you were ready. Y'all worried the heaven out of me. But let me tell you something. I believe that y'all got ready quicker than any other group. I knew you were. I told y'all last week you were ready. My leaders were ready. We could have done this last week. Your mind was ready. Your spirit was ready. And see, what I'm trying to teach you is you have control over what you do. You have control over it. And that's what you're learning. If Bailey did not go another day, what she has learned is the identification of a food addict is something that was created by the mind. That's what you got to learn in this. You got to see the lesson that transcends what you're doing. You have to see the lesson in this. How can I apply this to different areas of my life? That's what you got to see. In 6 months from now, if you continue to do what I'm telling you to do, if every area of your life does not change tremendously, then I'll quit. Your confidence level is going to change. Your overall sense of well-being. Bailey says she got to work and she had this boost of energy. See, when the body is not being toxified, okay? And see, we are toxifying our bodies just by being Americans. Whenever you're eating processed foods, you are toxifying the body. Whenever you're eating something that's in a box, in a wrapper, that doesn't need to be cooled or chilled, you're toxifying your body. Our children, when they go to school and they're eating the food at these schools, are toxifying their bodies. So, as the toxicity levels based upon our lifestyle, watch this, of consuming food, we're becoming toxified. We don't drink enough water, we're becoming toxified. We spend 3 hours on average on our phones. Our children are not able to even develop neurologically in their brains being exposed to iPads, and it's mitigating their ability to learn. It's taking away from people's social skills. We're walking around here zombies, sick zombies. And now we're living in a society that is foolishly teaching people that smoking weed is okay. So it's no big deal. Oh, I smoke. It's miracle marijuana, miracle marijuana. This marijuana that these folk are smoking is not an herb. This stuff is a powerful drug. And what it's doing is it's creating another level of addiction. These are drug addicts. And society is so weak that we are creating an environment telling people it's okay to do this. It's not. You don't need weed. I get it has its place. I get it has its space. I understand there are a lot of people who have terminal illness. I understand. I'm not talking about that. Y'all know I'm not talking about that. But 99% of these folk out here smoking this stuff, ain't nothing wrong with them. They're polluted. They're eating improperly. They've never been taught. They've never been cleansed. So to get folk in a group, and I'm able to filter what you know. I'm not running, and we're doing it in a way to where ain't nobody trying to capitalize on you. Nobody has charged you. Nobody's keeping you in this. But I'm monitoring the information because I've been in your shoes. I've been a gut and butt. I've been just like Bailey, thought I was addicted to food. I was the person who had agreements like I taught y'all. Oh, I love sweets. Oh, I got to have bread when I eat. Oh, I got to eat until I'm full. All of that stuff, games that the ego plays. I can't remember the last time I had a cookie. I don't want any more cake. I don't miss it. You see, it's almost like having an ex and you break up with the ex, but you still want them. That's torture. It's torture to not be with somebody and still want them. And everybody who's in the chat group knows exactly what that feels like. And if you don't know what that feels like, you haven't lived. Everybody who is watching this, you have been in a relationship with somebody where you broke up or they broke up with you and you still wanted to be with them. That feeling is torture. To want something that you can't have. Torture. You sitting up here thinking, what they doing? Where are they? But oh Lord, the feeling of deliverance comes truly authentically When the taste of even wanting to be around them leaves, that's when you're free. You don't care who you see them with, as long as they're not with you. You don't care what they're doing. You unbothered by the little posts that they make on social media. You ain't looking for them. You've been delivered. You see, it's one thing to be out here still wanting to do the things that you used to do that you didn't need to do, but it's another thing when it's taken, when the taste is taken from you. And when the taste is taken from you, that's when you got power. You can put me in a house made with cookies and I'm not going to want one. You know why? Because I've fallen in love with how my lifestyle makes me feel. I've fallen in love with not shaking when I'm walking. I've fallen in love with being able to go in my closet and wear anything I want, not having a bifurcated or divided closet where you got fat clothes and I'm not fat. I don't got to do that. So I've fallen in love with the life that I have been given by denying that stuff. So now I'm in a different mental headspace to where I'm understanding now that the things that I used to crave were mitigating me from living the life I wanted to live. And it takes time to get there. You still may have cravings. That's fine. It's okay. You still may want the cookie or the fries or whatever it is that you want. It's okay. But keep on hanging in this, because what you're going to realize is nothing is going to take the place and the space of feeling good, of sleeping good. It's the worst feeling in the world is to be so full that when it's time to go to sleep, you can't even rest because you grunting and you uncomfortable. You can feel your heart beating in your neck. And you do it night after night, day after day after day. That's a horrible feeling. So what you're coming through and what you're in is going to set you up for success. But you have to want it and you got to stick with it. And you got to listen to these stories and lean on them. Listen to Bailey. You heard what she said. She just like me and you. Somebody saw their lives in her testimony. She was my first guest because there's something about her story that y'all needed to hear. I didn't know what the story was. So here you are. 2 days, no food. And what am I hearing y'all say? Oh, I'm not, I had a few hunger pains, but I'm fine. You straight. All the times that you had those incessant snack attacks, what nothing but the enemy. Oh, I got to have me a pop. No, you don't. Oh, I got to get me a bite to eat. You just ate. Those are tricks and machinations of the mind, creating these fictitious realities that we buy into, assuming that they're real and they're not. The enemy hacking our mind is the best way to manipulate us. When you impact or influence how a person thinks, you control them. I'll give you an example. Y'all have seen our children. Skylar's 4, Zion is 2. Skylar's in school. She started going to school this year. Something that Lynette and I did, we made a conscious decision to do, is we told her we are not having conversations about race with our children. They won't hear white, black. They won't hear that paradigm. And before you judge me, listen to me. We made a conscious decision from since they were born, we will never sit down and describe people black and white. We won't do that. Now, we are smart enough to realize that one day that our children are going to be exposed to the black-white paradigm. And if and when that happens, then we'll have that conversation. But the reason why I didn't want to have that conversation and why we agreed to not have that conversation, we did not want the seed of racism to be planted in the mind of our children by their parents. And that's where it starts. You see, when you're impacting and influencing how someone thinks, you control them. That's why there are so many racist people in this country, because there are racist parents in this country. Black and white is a social construction. This concept of difference. Now, I understand, there comes a time when where people need to understand the history. I get that, and I'm not defying that. But I realize the power of the mind. I'm not going to allow racist ways to be created and implanted in our children by their parents. Skylar has no clue she's black. Thank the Lord. She don't know that her teacher is white, because it shouldn't, damn it, matter. It should not matter. What matters is are her teachers providing good care for her? Yes. Is she treating her friends with respect? Yes. Are they treating her with respect? Yes. Who cares about that? So when you're influencing how someone thinks, you're manipulating them. And this goes back to the first pre-work session that we had with you. In that pre-work session, the 5 agreements of transformation. That was the first one. That was the first one. And it's so powerful because we make agreements willingly. We willingly make agreements. Think about what we do. Let me make another race example. We call ourselves minorities. We call ourselves minorities. Why? When you etymologize minority, that's less than. You are automatically making an agreement with a socially constructed community that is less than somebody else. Who am I? I'm a child of God. Who are you? You're a child of God. And I understand life enough to know that black people and white people, because that's the construction that we're in, and I get that. But see, at the end of the day, these are the types of conversations we need to be having. So I'm not going to let you be under my tutelage as your leader. And that's why having the experience in nutrition as I do, everybody's always caught up on, you know, I get invited to do a lot of talks and things, and they all want to know, well, where were you educated and where did you get your certificate? What certification? I got it, but it don't mean nothing. You know what my certification is? I was a gut and butt, and I'm not. That's my certification. Because them little degrees and certificates I got on the wall, I didn't learn nothing doing that stuff. I learned it doing what y'all doing. I learned that my obesity was connected to how I thought. And I learned that if you don't address your thought process, you will fail. We've been in this, I've been working with y'all for 4 weeks. You ain't heard nothing about nutrition. You ain't heard a cotton picking word. But you still winning. You're successful. Some of y'all been 2 days without eating. Some of y'all couldn't go an hour without eating, but you are now. So he doing something right. What's your credentials? I got all these gut and butt doctors. Let me tell you something. I was invited to speak at a medical conference years ago. It's probably about 4 years ago. And I went to this medical conference with these doctors and nurses, every type of medical person. And in the part about health and wellness, they wanted me to speak about nutrition. They wanted me to tell my story. So I get to the facility, to the conference center, and I'm looking at all these doctors, and I'm looking at the mess that they're eating. Pizza, wings, hot dogs, hamburgers, cookies, muffins. And these doctors walking around with these gut and butts. And I got up, and the first thing that I said, you know what? I said, all of you, quote, hand up, should be ashamed of yourselves. You could have heard it got dead quiet. Everybody stopped. I said, now here we are at a medical conference. Y'all supposed to be the gatekeepers of the people. You doctors have taken the Hippocratic oath, and you walking around here engaging in activities that is keeping your facilities full of people that got preventative diseases. Shame on you. Man got up and he tried to start, well, I think what Dr. Williams, I said, no, don't tell me what I mean. I'm telling y'all, hand up. No cap. I said, no, don't tell me what I'm saying. I said, I know what I'm saying. I said, y'all sitting up here are our medical leaders, and you just as sick as the folk you treat. And it shows you that there are major flaws within our medical system. We don't have health care. But all they do is manage death. Listen, you being your best possible self is not going to be as a gut and butt. And for you all who are listening, who are not a part of the village, if you are offended that I use the word gut and butts, then sign off. I'm independent. Nobody underwrites me. My community keeps me independent. I say what I want. And we living in a time when we coddling too many gut and butts. Oh, well, You're just a little large. You are a gut and butt, and it's going to kill you. Lizzo, the singer, everybody's, oh, they were dragging her. If she doesn't change, her obesity is going to kill her. Oh, she's so beautiful. No, she's not. She's a gut and butt. And she shouldn't look like that. That's not healthy. It's not good for the heart. She's probably diabetic or pre-diabetic. And our young girls do not need to be looking at that as an example to emulate. And I don't care what any of you all think about that comment. I could care less. Matter of fact, Lizzo needs to be up in here detoxing with the rest of us. She needs to get her health together. But the reason why she's not is because we live in a society that coddles that, makes it socially acceptable. Our children do not need to see that. They need to understand it. The folk dying from COVID are the obese gut and butts. You don't hear that, do you? You don't hear that 80% of people in hospitals, see, they're telling you, well, 95% of people in hospitals are unvaccinated people. Well, let's break that down even more. Because 80% of those who are in hospitals, unvaccinated or not, are obese. Why? Because obesity or fat on the body compromises the immune response. So what Dr. Fauci needs to be doing, and what CNN needs to be doing, and what Facebook needs to be doing is running ads showing people the statistical data of how when you lessen the amount of body fat on your body, that you improve your chances of not getting severe COVID or death. That's what they need to be doing. But guess what? It ain't no money in that. Y'all done got me pissed off. It ain't no money in telling me to heal myself. There's no money in telling me to detoxify myself. There's no money in going through the 40-day turn up and learning how to eat and working on my weight. No money in that. If you're not injecting me with something or putting something in my mouth, they don't want no parts of it because it can't be monetized. So what's happening is we're living in a time to where they're saying, we're going to remove you for misinformation. That's a lie, because misinformation are basically people who are not saying what mainstream is saying. So that's what we're going to do, man. And it feels good to not care what people say. Whatever. Well, I think you're cruel. And it's always the gut and butts that get offended. It's like, well, go figure. Go figure. So I will stop my rants. And I will tell you what you need to know about tomorrow. I'm excited because we will eat tomorrow. You are never in your life going to be so excited to start eating properly. Everything that you're supposed to eat, all of your meals should be laid out. I've already told you. I want you to know what everything is. In the morning, I'm going to get up early in the morning. I'm going to go live. We're going to create a place and space in each of the groups where you will be posting your meals. But I'm going to show you exactly what I want it to look like. And for all of you saying, well, I got to post, that's why you're gutting butt now, because you never learned how to eat. The only lesson any of you got on how to eat is finish all of your food. That's the only lesson you got. Eat all your food. And you did that. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something else, and I'm through. A lot of you are saying, Dr. Joe, I don't have time to eat. My schedule don't allow me time to eat, Dr. Joe. I got to be at work at 8:30 in the morning. I don't know when I'm going to have time to eat. Stop lying. And let me tell you the reason why people think that. Because people have the wrong idea of what eating is. See, the idea that most people have of eating is not eating, is feasting. That's what we are accustomed to doing. We go to the restaurant. They bring us a basket of bread. Then we eat an appetizer. Have you ever thought about appetizers? That's we eat before we eat. Then the entree. Then you get drinks. Then you get, that's a feast. That ain't eating. That's not nutrition. That's excess. That's a feast. That should be something that is done once a year. If that. That is not eating. That's feasting. You do not need that much time to eat. You do not need that much time to absorb and to get the types of nutrients that you have. You can eat a perfectly fine meal in a matter of minutes without even rushing. But the problem with why people think they can't eat is because they think in their mind that feasting is eating, and it's not. It don't take long. You can eat on your way to the restroom. You can take a 5-minute bathroom break, go to the restroom, eat your meal, and be good. But it's you've never been taught that. You see? Nobody ever taught you that. Eat up all your food. Hey, we listen to that. When our children eat, can I have some more? No. Become accustomed to not being full. Teach your children how to not be full. That's a lesson. And as a matter of fact, in Japan, there's a term. I wish I knew the name off the top of my head, but it basically means 8/10 full. It means train yourself to never eat until you're full. This starts when we're children. Seconds and thirds. Sit your behind down. When a child is eating a balanced meal, you don't need more after that. It inundates the gut. It spikes insulin. It increases blood pressure. It mitigates digestion. The reason why people are taking Nexium and Prevacid and they're belching is because they put in too much food in their stomach and they're mitigating the digestive process, which is eating too much and too frequently. So the concept of snacks is mitigating digestion. Eating gum mitigates digestion. Why? Because as you're chewing, the tongue begins to salivate. Enzymes are being produced, so the body thinks you're eating something, and the artificial sweeteners in the gum spikes insulin. If your breath is hot, gargle with the Listerine like I told you in the morning. Get you some peppermint oil. 1 bottle of peppermint oil will last you 10 years. 10 years. Yes. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Marie. That's it. That's it. Hara Hachibu. Belly 80% full. Thank you, Marie. Shout out. Shout out, Marie. See, you have to learn how to eat and not have the feeling of fullness, but also being satisfied. You see what I'm saying? This is something that has to be trained. You got to train yourself to do that. People have no training because people have been taught to eat until they're full. So it's a feeling that they get, and they think that if I don't feel this, then I haven't eaten. Parents, start working with your children. When the meal is balanced, they don't need seconds. Children don't need juice. Well, what about apple juice? For what? Name me one animal in the animal kingdom that has ever drank some juice, please, in nature. Show it to me. It's pure sugar, pure. Children don't need that. It messes up their taste buds. Their taste buds become desensitized. And then as their taste buds, specifically for sugar and salt, become desensitized, they're eating things and it feels like there's no flavor to them. This is the reason why the Cheetos and the Doritos and all the potato chips are super salty. This is why things are super sweet, because our taste buds are all jacked up. They're jacked up. So y'all are going to learn. And for all of you who are watching this and you have no clue who I am or what the 40-day turn up is, listen, if you want to live a comfortable life and someone who's not going to be in your business, please don't sign up. Matter of fact, log off now. We produce killers. Do you hear me? Mindset. We talked about it this morning. We're killers. Being the master of self. You have to be able to master yourself, your fears, your desires at all times. You have to be able to be in a situation and want something, but don't indulge if you choose to do that. Because in life, if you're going to be successful, you have to be able to control yourself. It's a killer mentality. Not that I'm morally taking someone's life. Don't be ridiculous. But it's I am in control of me. And people aren't accustomed to that. People sit up here saying, well, what you drinking today? I'm detoxing. They want to know, well, why are you doing that? So I won't look like you. That's why. People aren't accustomed to that. Because we live in a society of indulgence. People are addicted. It's not a question of if, but how many things are they addicted to? People are addicted to people. That's why we're in toxic relationships. Because you have no control over yourself. How in the world are you in a relationship that's supposed to be special, but you got to call it's complicated? What sense does that make? Why are we in entanglements? Why are we in toxic relationships? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because we messed up here. No control of self. So how do you help someone control themselves? You start with the most fundamental desire of all human beings, food. You have to be in control of what you put in your mouth. You're going to learn that, but not only are you going to learn how to be in control, but you're going to learn what to put in your mouth. Because there's some things that you're doing that's creating metabolic syndrome that you can't control. And people just don't know. I got a lot of folk out here juicing, 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 juicing. And these people are diabetic and pre-diabetic. They're insulin resistant. And by the time 100 million people are either diabetic or have pre-diabetes. That's 1 in 3 people. And by the time you get diabetes, you know what else is compromised? Your kidneys and your liver. People start getting gout because their kidneys can't flush their bodies correctly. They're not drinking enough water. They're eating too much crap. Their organs are fried. And they're going to doctors being treated with things that perpetuate the condition. So when folk are always saying, well, I'm juicing, I'm juicing, I'm juicing, you're pre-diabetic. You're insulin resistant. So what you think you're doing to help you is actually harming you. I can spot them. I can spot them a mile away. I can look at how they're built and tell you that they're pre-diabetic. Skin tags, those little moles that you see around the shoulders, that comes from diabetes, that comes from metabolic syndrome, women who are suffering from PCOS, thyroid conditions. The number one compromiser of thyroid function is sugar. Sugar is a toxin, but it's not lobbied in that way because it's in everything that we eat. Foods are inflammatory that we're eating. It's 2 things children should never eat, ever. Sugar and milk. It's inflammatory. They're allergic to it. It's killing them slowly. And milk in the United States is basically poison anyway. The only milk a baby needs is the milk that comes from its mother's breast. When's the last time you saw a goat sucking on a cow's nipple? When was the last time? Why are y'all letting me rant? I'm sitting here talking. Why do you keep edging me on? You know I get carried away at times. And just wait till I start getting lean again. Oh, I'm going to be acting crazy. Sharpening up, baby. Killers is about to come out. Love y'all. Have a good night. Take your behind the bed. And I'll see you in the morning. We gonna eat. Y'all don't mess it up. We almost through. Take your behind to sleep. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm gonna have something for you. I'm gonna show y'all what to do. And we gonna get it together. Let's rob this bank, baby.